Hey guys, Jeff here, and today I wanted to debunk Gibson's latest lies and slander he's presented in his latest batch of schizo posts he's posted.
Yeah, that dumbass Gibson uses that movie Eye for an Eye as his false equivalence, which has nothing to do with Gibson being a weirdo cyberstalker of this other Kevin.
That's right, baby. Gibson is making false equivalences, and I do not approve. First of all, Sally Field's character was not the one who was physically harmed, thus, she didn't have the same emotional baggage. Since she didn't experience anything in person, it was her daughter who was ultimately snuffed out by a MGTOW in that film.
Oh, how ironic. Gibson tries to hide behind an evil MGTOW as a false equivalence. Also, Sally Field's character was doing what she had to do for another person, her daughter. Gibson, on the other hand, is a self loving idiot and a massive narcissist who falsifies slanderous claims against innocent people, such as this other Kevin. The fact Gibson stalks this other Kevin's Facebook not once, not twice, but 3 times on his YouTube posts proves that Gibson has a weird obsession with Kevin, and Gibson is the one who is the perpetrator of a crime by cyber stalking Kevin. Not to mention the other times Gibson Googled Kevin. Obviously, Gibson wants this new Kevin's meat, just like how he experimented with that other Kevin's meat in his mouth back in 1997.
And I never said that Gibson was gay. You're slandering me, Gibson. I said that you are LGBT. I never said that you exclusively like men. You can be LGBT and still like men and women and non-binary people, Gibson, because you admitted you experimented on a different Kevin in 1997 in your real book, Dreaming in Fascistic Colors, that makes you LGBT, but you also perv on women, which means you like men and women. Also, it doesn't matter when you wrote and published your cover story, Gibson. Obviously, your original story, Dreaming in Fascistic Colors, came first, and I read it in 2021. Thus, you responded by writing your cover story later on. All you can do is come up with cover stories because you're a massive gaslighting liar, Gibson.
Oh, Gibson, you cry bully about verbal abuse, which you slander Samantha with, yet you verbally abuse me, Jeff, and others. You are such a little cry bully. The fact you cry that you were doxxed, that you claim you were in a vulnerable position because of that, but then you decide to pick on a Jewish woman you have no connection with who didn't do anything to you by leaking her information with the knowledge that you were inciting violence, which is exactly how you described how you claim someone tried to do so to you who wasn't Susan, will be used against you in court, you anti Semitic psychopath.
That's right, Gibson is admitting he's well aware he's committing crimes and that Gibson knows he's inciting violence. He admits that he knows torture is a serious crime, which is what Gibson threatens on me and my friends. That will be used against him in court. He will struggle to use his false claim of autism as a permissive get out of jail free card. When the court sees him in his YouTube videos acknowledging that he knows that he's aware he's committing crimes.
Yeah, and Gibson also makes hypothetical serious terroristic threats, which is a crime. He didn't learn anything from the Richard Golden case, which was a fellow MGTOW incel right-wing loser of Gibson's who made hypothetical death threats against the chief of police in a Florida town, which resulted in Golden being placed behind bars. Gibson making hypothetical death threats, along with his overt death threats, will be used against him in a court of law.
Gibson does in fact own a Chevy pickup truck. That's how he managed to kill Kayla and Augie. He's only gaslighting otherwise that he doesn't have one, because we've been able to evade his many attempts to harm us, which will be used against him in a court of law. We have him on camera on CCTV stalking us.
That's right, babe. This is why nobody believes Gibson, because he's full of shit. He simply demands people by his bullshit lies. Oh, and Gibson, you call me disgusting names. You claim I'm being paid with no evidence to back anything up. Go fuck yourself, you little cocksucker. I'm gonna sue you in civil court too when you slandered me with no evidence. I hope Kevin joins in too, and we all make it a class action lawsuit against you.
Gibson has zero evidence to back up the claims that Princess and I are involved in anything he slanders, and he has zero evidence my other account has had any strikes. Gibson simply makes up lies with no evidence. Just the fact I use a second account is his brainlet claim that he lies that I apparently have strikes, which I don't. I'm not him. Gibson is a predator who strips naked on camera, showing nothing but his eunuch hole and his strap-on, then cries to YouTube because of him committing the crime of indecent exposure, and then Gibson's fellow MGTOW incels cry trying to use permissiveness that others are somehow responsible for Gibson's MGTOW moment where he committed indecent exposure on camera. MGTOW, of course, will never take responsibility for their crimes. That's why they will all get locked up, as they are currently are, as Claire Harris shows. And before you incel losers claim otherwise, The fact of the matter is, those MGTOWs on Claire Harris's channel who were exposed act and behave exactly as MGTOWs, which MGTOWs themselves claim MGTOW is a behavior. Thus, they are MGTOW. Exactly like how you can be racist just like Gibson is, and Gibson doesn't have to identify as a racist to make him racist. He just is a sickening racist MGTOW.
Gibson also is gaslighting. He pretends that party drugs do not exist. We all know Gibson does hard drugs for recreational purposes. Gibson loves to lie and gaslight that drugs can't be used for party or recreational purposes. This is why nobody believes Gibson, because he just distorts reality that people can see for themselves.
Exactly, babe. Gibson just has a MGTOW moment temper tantrum whenever people see through his obvious lies. Because Gibson is such a narcissist. He wants people to just believe his untrustworthy word, hook, line, and sinker. Nobody is buying your lies, Gibson, especially since you slander and you wrote a fake Wikipedia article about me.
And how dare you use Sandy Hook for one of your false equivalences, Gibson? The families did not stalk the perpetrator of that tragedy like you are doing with that different Kevin. You are such a little piece of shit, Gibson, trying to tie your weird perversions and your obsession with that other Kevin in with such a tragic event.
Well said, baby. And Gibson's new strategy is to simply ignore our videos, which present all the facts, because Gibson knows we're onto his slander and gaslights. This is why everyone is siding with us, which Gibson can't handle.